course, those monsters are extinct now, but the Komodo Dragon is what we have now. These are the largest of the monitor lizard family, as well as not only the largest lizards, but also the largest venomous animal alive today. And of course, Komodo dragons are opportunistic. They feed on pretty much anything that they can catch, but they mostly feed on things like Timor deer, wild pigs, or fish, and they will occasionally be cannibalistic, but they will also scavenge for prey, and even incredibly, they can take down a fully grown water buffalo, one of these, and people actually find it remarkable that a lizard will take on and kill an animal as big as a water buffalo. I mean, it is an immensely heavy and powerful beast with probably the broadest horns of any member of the cow family. But Komodo dragons don't try and overpower their victims like a pride of lions. So, of course, what they do is they have to get up right behind their prey like a water buffalo, and then they bite the animal, inject venom, and then they just release it and wait for it to die. And of course, a Komodo dragon's jaw has 60 curved teeth that are as sharp as a scalpel, and they inject venom from a special gland inside their jaw. And of course, the bite itself wouldn't really look that bad, but inside the body of a buffalo that's been bitten by a Komodo dragon, it's a completely different story, because Komodo dragon venom affects mostly the blood cells and the heart. It causes a decrease in blood pressure, attacks blood cells, and stops the wound from healing, so it could eventually cause the animal to bleed to death. But also it can cause a noxious infection from the open wound. And of course, it may take a few hours or days for its prey to die, so all the dragon has to do is follow and wait. And another frightening thing about the Komodo dragon is that they have, on occasion, targeted, hunted, and even killed humans. But a lot of the time, it's only if they haven't eaten for several days, or if they smell blood. Because once they smell blood, they switch to predatory mode, and that's when they can be very, very frightening. And of course, I've never been to the parts of Indonesia where Komodo dragons are found, but of course, where they live in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, which is an archipelago, which is a whole group of islands. The Komodo dragons are found on a few islands in the south of Indonesia that are, of course, named the Komodo National Park. Of course, they live in the mountains, the forests, the grasslands, the caves, and they can even swim across the seas to other islands. And of course, as I said, I've never been to the Komodo National Park, but a couple of friends of mine have been before, and of course, when you go there, I mean, there are a few rules you need to follow. I mean, the first one is that being as it's a national park, you're obviously not allowed to carry guns or anything that will harm the dragons, but you do need to defend yourself, so you're given a stick with a Y shape on top. I mean, what use is that against a giant 3-meter long venomous lizard? I honestly don't know, but it's better than nothing. But also, this rule only applies to the women, because if you go and see Komodo dragons, if it is your time of the month, you can't be anywhere near them. You have to stay at camp, because if the dragons smell blood, they will instantly target you and you could be in trouble. And of course, believe it or not, the early explorers that first came to that part of the world were so frightened by the rugged islands and the rough seas in between them that they simply just wrote on their maps, "Hear the dragons," which actually sounds quite crazy, but actually they were spot on. Although they can't fly or breathe fire, they do have some of the strongest venom in the world that's powerful enough to bring down a fully grown water buffalo and has no cure to my knowledge. Of course, this is Indonesia, but right here is the island that they're found, the islands they're found on that make up the Komodo National Park. Now the next reptile I'm going to show you is one of the most frightening creatures on the planet. It is the King Cobra. Now, the King Cobra is the largest venomous snake on Earth. When I say the largest, I mean a fully grown male can be over 6 meters long, so it could be as long as a lorry, and believe it or not, it could actually rear right up to 6 feet, which is as tall as me, and look me right in the eye. They have probably the most advanced vision of any snake, combined with a keen sense of smell and taste. They have fangs that are basically long, thin needles on the front of the upper jaw, pointing down like this and fixed. And they have venom that's strong enough to theoretically kill an elephant. Of course, the King Cobra is one of the most incredible animals on the planet. I mean, like all members of the cobra family, it can spread its ribs into a hood to make itself look bigger and more aggressive. But I mean, while this is a snake with incredible capabilities, most of what it really wants to do is to escape from danger. Its first instinct is to flee to get away. But if it thinks that it has nowhere to go, it will spread its ribs into a hood, put on a big display to make itself seem larger, seem more threatening, and it will give a hiss that's a lot more like a roar from a snake. And the reason why this snake's venom is so powerful is down to what it feeds on. The King Cobra doesn't feed on warm-blooded prey like mammals. Oh no, it only feeds on other snakes, including some of the most venomous, like the Russell's viper, the common krait, the saw-scaled viper, and other cobras. But it mainly feeds on rat snakes, pythons, and of course other venomous snakes. And what it does is it will grab a hold of prey and it will hold on to it, inject enormous amounts of very toxic venom, even deep into the muscle, which will paralyze and kill its prey in as little as a minute and a half. And the venom is a very complex cocktail, but the main constituent part is neurotoxin, which is the toxin that affects the nervous system, the heart, the lungs, and the respiratory system. And believe it or not, this actually has some degree of immunity to other snake bites, so the King Cobra is basically indestructible when it comes to other snakes. And there are actually people in Asia that actually do the practice that's known as snake charming. And most of that is like making movement with their body, like with their hand or their knee, and that catches the cobra's eye, and they fix on that. And incredibly, I actually witnessed this at the exotic pet shop in Longton, that a snake handler actually stroked the back of the head of his snake. Now, because it was a cobra, and that might look like total insanity, but the truth is, A cobra's fangs, like the king cobra, they're on the upper jaw, pointed down like this and fixed. So they're not hinged like the fangs of a viper. They can't swing forward. The snake, the cobra, can only strike going downwards, and coming down on top of its head like that actually makes it physically impossible for the snake to bite someone. But even so, that is serious confidence and not for the faint-hearted. Of course, this is the range of the king cobra. Now, the next reptile I'm going to show you is one of the most bizarre in the world. It is the Gharial. Now, the Gharial is in the Crocodilian family, and a fully grown male can grow to be 6 meters in length. But probably the strangest thing about the Gharial is its snout. It's very long and very thin, and that's because Gharial specialises in feeding on fish, as well as amphibians and crustaceans, so it needs to sweep through the water very quickly. But they also have different muscles in their legs and a lighter skull than other crocodiles, so they can move quicker in the water. And of course, this bulbous growth on the end of the snout is found on the mature males. In Indian, it's called a gura, meaning pod. It's actually used to create a humming noise to attract females. And of course, the Gharial is one of the largest reptiles on Earth. And as I mentioned, it could be a fully grown male, could be probably about 6 meters long, and they're of no danger to humans at all. Well, they're purely fish specialists, but unfortunately, Gharials are also probably the rarest and most threatened members of the Crocodilian family. There's probably no fewer than 2,000 breeding pairs left in the wild, fewer than even tigers. In fact, hunting out of fear and for their skins, as well as the pollution of the lakes and rivers where they live, are thought to be the causes. And to me, it's actually a terrifying thought to think that an animal that's been around on the planet since before the dinosaurs could be coming to the brink of extinction because of humans. However, there are efforts being made to protect Gharials, like with breeding populations in captivity, but also protecting the waterways where they live, and that is slowly helping to increase their numbers in the wild. Even so, they are still very difficult to see in some places. Here is their range. The next Asian reptile I'm going to show you is the longest snake in the world. It is the Reticulated Python. Now, the Reticulated Python is the longest snake in the world. In fact, because while the anaconda of South America can get larger and heavier bodied, in terms of pure length, the Reticulated Python has it all. In fact, the largest recorded specimen was about 28 feet. So it would be me plus a little bit more of length. In fact, the name reticulated comes from the diamond patterning down its back, which means netting. But here is Steve Backshall handling a captive reticulated python, and that was about 20 feet long. And of course, like all members of the constricting group of snakes, that's how the reticulated python kills its prey. It grabs a hold of its prey, it will wrap coils of the body around the animal, and as it breathes out, the snake just clenches a little bit more, and every time the animal breathes out, it clenches more and more and more and more, until eventually there is no lung space left and the animal suffocates. And then it will swallow its prey whole, because snakes can't chew their food, so it has to swallow it in one mouthful.